Hello everyone, Saturn here giving a breakdown of different interest groups in Wiki 3. In this video, we're going to focus on the religious interest groups, so let's get into it. Your religious interest group will have the icon of two hands praying. Depending on your nation, it'll be a different group. So for Russia is the Orthodox Church. And a quick review, suppressing and bolstering are available for authority depending on your free speech laws. Again, this is good to increase or decrease the attraction of the given group. If your clout is over 20%, then your trait bonuses will be doubled because they'll be considered powerful. And your approval is all dependent on the laws that you pass and the ones that your interest group endorses or opposes. Let's take a look at the traits for the religious interest groups. Pious fiction, minus 10% education access is pretty bad, so you really don't want to have this group unhappy for very long. It's not the end of the world, but again, this will definitely hurt your literacy rate. Divine rate is a plus 10% authority, which is very, very nice. And if you could double that with the 20% clout, that would be really good. But this is probably the best one. Be fruitful and multiply. So it's a plus 2% birth rate, and again, you get a plus 4% if your clout is high enough. So this is usually a good reason to keep your religious groups loyal if you can. Again, you may not. The early game you probably can. Later on, it's going to be really, really hard to. How do we get this interest group happy? Well, we got to pass laws that they like. So let's take a look at their ideologies here. They're traditionalists, so legal guardianship isn't bad. So this is one you can keep around for quite a while or throughout the game if you'd like. Plus 5% birth rate is very good. One that you're not going to want to keep around, though, is state religion. This has a lot of discrimination, which causes a lot of radicals, and is one you want to get away from. So usually later in the game, this is why this interest group gets weakened. The next ideology group is Pious. Here, if you can get charity hospitals early, it's okay. We got to remember, though, every level that you do increase this is going to give another plus 10% to the political strength of your religious group, so you need to be careful there. But the minus 5% mortality rate and just having any healthcare early is nice, right, because it's just less deaths and more population. The same thing for religious schools. If you want to get your education access early and you can get this passed and you can't do private or public, it's okay to do. What's also pretty good here, though, is the plus 20% conversion, which gets stronger. So if you're keeping the state religion and you need to convert people so they're not discriminated against, this definitely helps out. But again, every level you're going to be making the religious group stronger. This interest group is also part of the Moralist ideology group, which is pretty interesting because they endorse theocracy. Again, I don't think this is very strong. It's okay. The plus 200 authority is nice, but you do really get your religious interest group stronger by the plus 25%. It's not much different than the monarchy, but it's a good way to keep, if you're really trying to get the landowner's strength down, switching over to theocracy isn't the worst. State religion is one, again, that you're going to want to get rid of most likely later on in the game. This makes them, again, very strong, and there's a lot of discrimination here. And national supremacy isn't bad either. The plus 150 authority is actually pretty nice. The minus 15% radicals and plus 15% loyalists for the accepted cultures is actually not bad either. So this one's not too bad to try to keep them happy. This is one maybe to keep around for a little bit. And the last ideology group is Russian Orthodox Patriarchy. That's a mouthful. So they endorse oligarchy and autocracy, which are both fine, unless you're really, again, trying to lower that landowner group as well. Then this does help the aristocrats. Legal guardianship, again, another one that's okay to keep around. Free speech is actually pretty good here because censorship I tend to like to keep around for that suppression and bolstering, or outlawed dissent once you actually get political agitation, which again is a very high tech. It's a tier 4, so that's going to be a while. What really hurts here, though, is serfdom. They do endorse this, and this is something you definitely want to get away from because it's just going to hinder your economic system. How can we make this interest group stronger? Well, let's take a look at its population and the professions that it makes up. Clergyman is number 1, which again isn't really a big shock. So what buildings can we build to employ more of these professions? If we go under rule, a lot of the farms do make this available. There's 300 clergymen, but a lot more laborers. So you do get a little bit. But under urban, I think this is probably the best way. Underneath your government administration buildings, you do hire a decent amount of clergymen, not a lot. But a decent amount. And then underneath your universities, you also can do a decent amount of clergymen here. And again, it does depend on what you're using here for secularism. So you will lose your clergymen if you go to secular academia, so you got to be careful there. But I think in a majority, this is where you start anyways, so you should be fine. And it's the same thing for the government buildings. You want to make sure that you're doing the same thing here to make sure that you're getting those clergymen. What's really nice about this, though, all of this is government wages. So what you can do if you're really serious about this is you build government admin buildings as well as universities, and there might be a couple other buildings there. And what you can do is you can increase your budget here, even though it does say it's going to increase the intelligentsia and petite bourgeoisie. It's also going to increase all government wages. So this will impact your religious group. So what we could do is max that out if you want, because what it means is they're going to be paid more, right? And as I explained in previous videos, the more wealth that you have is what really dictates the amount of clout that you're going to get and the strength that you're going to get. So the more clergymen we have, the better well off that they're paid, the stronger this interest group is going to become. If you'd like for me to break down some of the other interest groups, put it down in the comments below. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. It's free. And as always,
for the swarm.